Come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at Connections 50 Plus. I am Terri Jenn Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Connections 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive. I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus, and as usual with me this evening is my colleague.
Hi, everyone. Good evening and welcome. I am Terri Jenn Joseph Brathwaite, the other co-creator of Connections 50 Plus. Jen, how are you doing? August is progressing nicely.
I'm doing great. I'm all excited because this evening, as you know, we have our special guest to introduce one of our tribe members. We have Dr. Lynette Tyson-Noel coming to share with us as our guest this evening, continuing our conversation on emancipation and giving ourselves permission. We really were talking about emancipation right into independence. And we talk about giving ourselves permission, what it's really like to be emancipated. So here we are with Dr. Noel.
Great.
Welcome again, everyone. We are so happy to have with us this evening a special guest, actually one of our tribe. And she is Dr. Lynette Tyson-Noel, and I am emphasizing doctor. And that is for very, very, the reason I'm emphasizing a doctor because, and I will allow her to tell you, why this is such a very proud moment, just not for her, but for us in the tribe. So, Dr. Tyson-Noel, could you share with us, tell our audience a bit about who you are and your recent accomplishment? Let me put it that way.
All right. So let me say greetings to you and greetings to the tribe. And thanks so much for having me here. All right. You mentioned and you emphasized doctor. And when you did that, it told me something. And it told me certainly that doctor, right, a title, is significant. And why is it? It's significant because of the journey that I undertook for many years, doing a longitudinal study. And out of that came the PhD. The title of the dissertation is Literacy Achievement of Male Adolescents in Secondary Schools in Trinidad and Tobago, a model for intervention. So not only did I study about 6 cases, 6 different situations where I worked with teachers here in Tobago and in Canada. I worked with students here at a co-ed school, and I also worked with male-only students. So I had all these experiences being studied, being analyzed to come up with a model for intervention. Now, how significant is that, you would say? It is significant because of the situation that existed at the time, and I dare say still exists to a large extent in our schools, in our secondary schools, and with the male the adolescents. So we have seen them targeted for low achievement and all of those things, of course, low behavior, bad behavior, and all of those things. But we have to look more closely at that. And this was my intention, of course, and my supervisors, my advisory committee, the university, agreed with my proposal and so on. And it was really interesting to work with the different stakeholders. The teachers, okay? They know their students best, all right? So they bring a particular perspective to the intervention, all right? The students, the male students, the female students, okay? We did the teachers at Teachers Hair and Teachers in Tobago. You might say it is Trinidad and Tobago. But there are some differences which we were well noticed. And I say we, I like to say we because I always believe it's a collaborative thing, although I was the person doing it. But it's collaborative, right? And what was noticed is that students need some things. They need to be valued, okay? They need to be valued. And you would recognize that in your home. If there's a child who is always treated as if a person doesn't belong, everything he or she does is wrong, what happens? That child loses the self-esteem and all of those things. All right. So we're looking at this position there. So that's important. There's another thing about choice. About choice. All right. We have activities that we want to do with the students as teachers. Yes. But do we know these students? I have a statement that I make all the time. I said, you cannot teach anybody you do not know. And another thing I say, we have to reach them to teach them. To reach them means getting to know them, getting to know what they like, getting to know what they don't like. And that getting to know them must be done in a way that is non-judgmental. Because if I do something wrong and in your attempt to correct me, all you do is to say how bad I am. I am not, that is not going to heal me. It's going to hurt me. It's going to hurt me and it's going to hurt me back. So we have those things. So we have choice. The idea of being valued, you know. What about getting to know them in such a way so that the activities that are planned are suited for their level of achievement at the time.
Dr. Tyson, I have to say, and I know we usually address you as Lynette, but for today, I am addressing you as Dr. Tyson.
I accept that. I accept that, Terri Jenn. I accept that. Thank you so much for it. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes.
You know, I am listening to your discussion on the work you did, and I am brought back to what we are trying to do in this month of August, linking emancipation with independence and having been emancipated, getting permission. And I am intrigued about, we always talk about the role of our cohort in that whole process. And we know that one of the most important roles for us is to prepare the next, yes, while we're on the third act stage, we are preparing the next generation. I'm intrigued by your dissertation being a model for intervention. And I know it may have focused on interventions in schools and programs and so on, but I am sure that you would have gleaned interventions that can happen in the community, in the home, and in particular, interventions that grannies like us,
Yes.
older parents like us can make with our collective experience as a tribe to have an impact, not only on making our lives easier, but making sure that that transition of the others, we say we pull up and we push up while we step up, works. So can I ask you now, in the context of what we want to do is, having done that work, we developed that model, when we now look as ourselves as the elders and with the information that you've gathered, and then we look forward,
Yes.
what are some of the things that you determine we as the 5.8G cohort need to get ourselves involved in to make sure that this space that we share is a positive and progressive space?
And that's quite interesting, because I want to say, Terri Ann and Jennifer, that what you're doing here, this whole thing about Connections 50 plus, is a model for intervention.
Yes.
You might not have seen it in that way, but you are intervening for us.
Yes.
In that 50 to 80 group, providing measure of guidance, providing some financial discussion, and so you've done that, providing the social support that we need. Some of us are home being bored. We are being bored and we are boring too. You know, you have both. Right, you have both. Yes, you have both. And children might be boring. I mean, oh gosh, mommy, granny, oh gosh, so on. So what you have done and you are doing is providing the assistance, okay? The assistance, that bridge for us to cross.
Yeah.
Okay? So when you have Emancipation Gala, okay, some of us might not have felt about going anywhere, emancipation, all right, we put on the clothes and go, well, all right, it's the same thing every year. Some people might have that idea. I'm just saying. What did you do? You planned an intervention for those of us who might, well, not really. I was there, right? But for those of the tribe who would not have gone anywhere, who would not have felt any need to express that emancipation that we are talking about. And you have done that. You have also had intervention when you went down to the Pitch Lake. Okay? Right? And what? There are many of your tribe who have not gone anywhere.
Exactly.
And there might have been one or two who didn't even know how to get to the Pitch Lake. You provided that. You provided the material. I think, and I'm just saying that you know your events better than I do. So what I'm saying is you are providing that. There is that intervention. What you can do now, I think, is reshape it, refashion it, so that the expertise that you have in the tribe, that you would share more of that to the younger ones. And I think that is the bridge. That is the bridge that you have to build now.
Yeah.
The tribe is aware, the tribe knows, and the tribe is comforted with what you're doing, and we enjoy it and everything else. What about the younger ones? How are we interacting with them? That is something that we have to consider, because We see them in the gas station. We see them on the field. They're around us. On the streets, they're around us. So we, as much as our target has been the 50 to 80, to bring that that tribe, okay, to a freedom, to an appreciation of themselves and all of that, I think we have to consider how we use the freedom that we are experiencing to embrace the younger ones.
Wow.
Yes.
Dr. Noel, that's so powerful. First, thank you
Yes.
so much for endorsing Connections with the Plus and what we do. You know, what you just said in terms of embracing, I thought immediately of, the building the family legacy,
Yes.
building community,
Yes.
and within that building of community, yes, we focus on the 50 plus, but I can really see how in at times embracing the younger ones, the adolescents, those who in terms of your when you did your research
Yes.
and you saw how important it is, for them to have that support, for us to reach out to them. I can see, yes, moving forward as part of our emancipation trust, that we may definitely look at maybe bringing in, start with some of the family members that within that age group.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
something like
And
that. So
and
thank
Jennifer,
you.
if I may interject here, well, because I'm involved in literacy, so I always would find some room to insert some literacy event. And I'm saying that many of the tribe have stories to tell.
Yes.
Okay? I want to suggest that they write those stories. They write those stories and have those stories read. Of course, you would choose and all of that. So you have an evening of the tribe with their grands, right? And you have read aloud taking place. So the young ones see their grandparents and so on in a different light.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about reading and listening to it being read, especially if it's read in a very dramatic way and all of that. And I see Marva being very good at that kind of thing. Betty, some of the people I can mention, you see, right? So you have to do that and bringing out that that the power of story. Because what have we learned about emancipation? How did we learn about emancipation? Through story. Through story and things that were written. So we have that combination. Okay? And true stories are told.
Yeah.
So
Dr.
I
Tyson,
think
can I
that
ask
is a
you?
good idea.
Can
Yes.
I ask you a question now? And
Of
I'm fully
course.
on board with that. And I love this Dr. Tyson thing. Anyway.
Yes.
Dr. Tyson-Noel.
Dr. Tyson-Noel, yes. Let me give credit to the full name.
All right. We
Yes.
accept that too.
Yes. One of the things, and we already know it all generation. I being strict, we already know it all
Yes,
generation
yes.
because we do know it. We don't know most of it. Okay,
Yeah.
we do know most of it, and very often we hear what you say, and that storytelling becomes instruction, and that storytelling becomes a lecture, and it becomes a one-way thing. Again, coming back to your interventions and understanding what role we play and I'm talking about our generation in its entirety now, in causing the youngsters to stop listening? Because I hear a lot of stories being shouted at and interrupted too. And what are some of the things that, as we look to the future and think of now shaping our stories and shaping delivery to be different, what are some of the things that you found we need to be aware of to make sure it lands where it needs to land?
Well, Terry, and let's start with this. It depends on how you talk to me, and I'm using me
Yeah.
as the person that right. Jennifer called me. Okay, Jennifer called me, spoke with me briefly. I said yes.
Mhm.
Somebody else, and Jennifer meaning connections, right? Somebody else could have called me about something, and I'm really not too interested because of the way it was said. And the person might think that they're being off key, but I don't feel moved. Okay? So let's transfer that to the younger ones. Okay? We talk to them many times. It's a lecture. I probably might have been guilty of that, but I mean, as I got older,
You in your
certainly.
role as a lecturer.
Right, of course. But I am always conscious of how people feel. Really, I'm always conscious about that. And I, while I'm talking, I'm also listening to myself. I listen and I look. So I'm aware of the impact that I might be having.
Mhm.
Okay? But many times parents and the elders, when they, because they are right, because we are right,
And we know it.
right, we are not too anxious to hear. Now let me rephrase. Generally,
Mhm.
generally, let me say that. Generally, because we are right and we think we're always right, we don't take the time to listen, to even look, to see how what you said might hurt. So if that happens once, if that happens twice, and I am an adolescent young child, do I want to talk to you? Do
Exactly.
I want to hear you? I keep avoiding you. So I build up this thing that, look, you see, Granny, look, Granny must be coming with something. So when Granny is talking, uh, yeah, or sometimes they utter nothing and their face said, mm,
Mhm.
as if to tell it, you're finished, you're finished, you're finishing now. And they go back to do what
They were
they were
doing.
doing.
Mhm.
Now, what has happened there? You have spent maybe about 5 minutes lecturing them, demeaning them, calling to mind all the bad things that they have been doing for the past week. You know, our parents used to do us that. So, right, okay. So, and when that happens, what have we done to them? How have we helped them? What intervention? Because really, when we are talking to them about some situation that we didn't like, we are really applying some intervention, making some suggestion. But if the suggestion is done in such a way that you haven't recognized that I am a person, that I can think,
Mhm.
I have a voice, you know,
Yeah.
how are we going to go on with this?
Yes. Yes.
So I think for the For the modus operandi to change, we, the adults, must realize some things. One, we are all human beings. And if we believe that we are emancipated, the children and the grandchildren we have made or are responsible for, they are emancipated too. It means, therefore, that they have a kind of freedom, they have a voice, they have choice, right? We know that in those days, way, way, way back, choice was not an option for us, for those who had gone before, our forefathers and everything else who were enslaved. So if, when we are talking to our children and grandchildren, we forget that, what happens? What happens? You know? What happens? Terri Jenn spoke about, I think that was the thing about permission. All right. So let's jump in a bit to talk about permission.
Being emancipated with permission. Permission
With
for
permission.
what?
Permission gives you the right to do certain things, or gives you opportunity. Let's say opportunity. If you think it's a right, we must also remember that with every right comes responsibility
and accountability.
And, well, of course, and accountability.
Sometimes
so
you forget that part.
We cannot talk about emancipation without permission. We cannot talk about permission without responsibility and accountability. Okay? Now, who is giving permission? I always believe that whoever gives permission still has a hold on you.
It's interesting.
Absolutely.
Yes. Because if I am going to give you permission, if I am going to give you permission to call me at any time, I have given you that right, which means I can take it back. Which means I can take it back. So permission is not really unconditional. Let's get that clear. You know, for instance, okay, we talked about emancipation and freedom. Free to do what you want. And some of our tribe, you know, in that age group felt they could do what they want. Yeah. Right. So I could spend my money. It's mine. I worked for it. Okay. Right. No problem with that. But if you spend it recklessly, what happens?
If you spend and don't invest,
you might even be able to go to a financial institution to get a loan.
If you only spend and don't invest,
if you only spend
and don't invest, invest in children, invest in health, invest in community.
And lovely. And one of the things I think about, you know, our tribe, some of our tribe, when we talked about emancipation and so on, this freedom. Yeah. But have we used our freedom sufficiently to enlighten the younger ones? To enlighten them about financial literacy. There are programs there. Do we encourage them to, you understand? Do we encourage them to listen? Do we share some ideas about them? We figure, okay, whatever money we have, we use it on them. So they go up in they stretch out their hand and they're getting. Are we letting them? About accountability, I have given you permission to stretch your hand to get from me, right? But there's a responsibility. You have to spend what I have given you wisely. If you don't spend it wisely, well, you are going to reap what you sow.
Dr. Tyson, I want to posit, and I am getting now to challenge your thesis.
Yes, yes.
Because I am wondering now, I'm not challenging, I'm asking a question. And Jennifer, we always look on and say, but it's so obvious. Why can't you just see clearly what needs to be done and do it? And we are saying now emancipation gives you permission. And if permission comes with responsibility and accountability, probably those things are so frightening to us that wait, I have to get responsibility for that, and I have to be accountable for the consequence of what I give myself permission to. Well, better go back in the cage and stay far from the door. Better put the shackle back around my neck and lock it and hand that responsibility and accountability over to someone else. Even if it is not massa, just throw it in the air, and where it lands, which could reflect on why our community, and I know I'm saying something that's very harsh, but our community, especially the youth, may be in the condition that it is because of our fear of being accountable and responsible for the freedom that we have.
Yes. We have given them, those who have some, some means, we have given, because we don't want our children to go through the same, troubles and challenges that we experience. So we give. But in giving, I think sometimes we forgot to pull the reins in a bit, to let them know, I'm giving you permission. Yes, I'm giving you that. But be careful how you use it. And I'm saying some, and in all of this, I'm saying some.
It's not a broad
right? Because, there are members of our tribe who are really responsible and really look after their children and encourage their children to look after their grandchildren, who would in fact be those grandchildren and so on. So we have that. But I think that we have to really look more closely at how we have viewed emancipation, how we view this idea of permission, and how we can, in fact, turn things around. But where must it start? It's not going to start on the TV here. It has to start in the home. Let's go to the home, right? Let's go to the home. What are you doing in the home? What are you doing in the home? And it is not about, you have to, I don't have the money to do this. I have the, okay. Let's stop there. Because there are many programs, white tape, all those others, and the Ministry of Youth. I am not really, but I'm saying what exists, right? So I'm not, right? And there are programs there to help the young one, the adolescents who left school and probably didn't do as well as we would have liked. There are programs for parents, parenting and financial literacy and all of those. Okay. And in many of these cases, the fee is minimal, and in some cases, all you need to do is appear, is fill out the form and appear. Okay? So we have to pull ourselves up, recognize that we have not always done it right. Because an unfortunate thing is sometimes we become the master of long ago. I mean, it's an unfortunate statement I have made, And I think many people might not like it, but in some cases, we have been like that. Okay? We've been like that. But we have to say that era has passed. We got the permission to rule our household. And with that, we have a responsibility to the children, the grandchildren. Okay? We have a responsibility. Are we exercising those responsibilities as we should? Because we are not going to have a better society if the family is in a mess. Let's get it clear. So each family has to decide, look, this is what I have. It's a little bit. Okay? It's a little bit. But we're going to make it happen. You see, I'm going to share just a bit slightly about, I'll give you a little personal story and thing. You know, people see me now, right? Okay, fine, Dr. Lynette Tyson-Noel and all of that. I went to school in Manzan. We call it Manzan. Right? Running water was by the pipe. Okay? So we knew about toting water. Okay? All right. Fill up the containers covered. None of us, and I would say that without any reservation, none of us got measles, any of those diseases that they do. Okay? Right? Okay. Of course, you know, we had no electricity. All right? There might have been a street light there, but how did we do the work? How did we do it? We did it by candle, by flambeau, by the home sweet home lamp, you know, with the shade mark home sweet home. And that was the one that was on the table, the main table there. Okay?
And all work was done around it.
All work was done around.
Fixing work, school work.
And we learned the time. We learned the time. You didn't have any digital anything to tell you it is 7:36. And you went to school. Clean. Remember I talk about water. Okay? Clean smelling, clean looking, clothes, uniform clean. You had the washicom, the white washicom. You know, you had something to put on. So all of those things. I'm painting a picture here of what existed at that time. Did we say, well, I would say, did they say, well, no. Well, you see, we have any water and we have electricity, so you can't go to school today. What? Can't go to school? You can't learn? What? So I'm painting a picture here for you, right? Because we had no electricity, you had this pitch oil stove, and listen, Christmas time, anytime, food cook well, everything. I'm painting a picture here of making do with what we had. Okay? And my father was bold enough to tell us a Tyson never came lower than first. What a horrid thing to tell a child. But that's what we told.
It gave you ambition.
So what was that saying? And of course my mother agreed with him. I mean, I don't know that we always succeeded with that, but what they were saying to us.
Reach.
You could do it. We are providing the basics for you. Use this. And I must say, we had a deep faith in God. And, you know, every day that they had church, you're going to church. You understand? And especially on Sunday and all those things. So So all those things, yeah, made us who we are today. And we have been able to pass it on to our children and to the grands of the great nephews and nieces that we have. So Dr. Lynette Tyson-Noel didn't become she is.
You didn't drop from a manzanilla coconut tree.
I didn't drop from
one
that.
great
I
lady
didn't drop
said.
from that at all. And of course, transport was a problem. Understand? So I painted that picture really in a way for people to see that many times you don't have all that you need or even all that you want. But if you use what you have, somehow it multiplies,
Yeah.
and the burden becomes easier.
Okay, I just want to go back a bit at the
Yes.
where we are now,
Yes.
because of course I could relate to that story too.
I know.
There now, and I just want to mention a bit on the permission.
Yes.
As I said before, of us now embracing the youth and telling the story,
Yes.
because it's important for them to know, what we have gone through to reach this stage to say, yes, we are emancipated. But there is one, when you mention in terms of giving yourself permission and what permission, really giving yourself permission means leading to responsibility, accountability, etc. I am at this stage where I believe I have done in terms of family life in giving those who are responsible for the opportunities to bring them to that place of being independent.
Yes.
Right? So I feel now, while yes, I will still reach out, I feel that this is my time now, not seek permission from anybody else. But I given myself the permission. I am taking responsibility, accountability for my life, because I see each is to me, because let me live out the rest of my life with free spirit, being free spirited. Yes, I would support, and I agree with that, bringing along others. But for me would be I not seeking permission from anybody else. Right. Is it too because of the stage I'm at? All right. I would like to respond, but I wanted time. It may be a little off a bit, but I still wanted time. You at this stage, and that's why when I started and I emphasized the doctor is because at this stage in your life, I mean, it took a while, yes, but you decided when you got on the third act stage that you were still going to follow and pursue your goals, your academic goals, and reach this. Could you, if there's any way to accountability to focusing on yourself at this stage?
Well, yes. The thing about it is, I gave myself the permission to pursue. Okay, I gave myself the permission to persevere, and of course, I had a lot of support with that too. Now that I've reached this point, that is something I have achieved. I am also giving myself the permission to use it for the greater good. For the greater good. Right? It is not something for me to just sit back on my laurels and say, right, oh, right. So that's no. Well, that is never my disposition anyway. So it's kind of hard for me to start now. Yeah. So So I am giving myself permission to choose how I use it. That's one. Okay? Because sometimes we're running after the wind to catch dust. You know, we get into things that have no use. They're really wasting time. I don't have the time to waste. I mean, none of us really has any, because we don't know about time, right? So I've given myself permission to choose. I also give myself permission to attend what I want to attend. PAN would not have been happening in the square yesterday, and I would not have been there. I had to give myself the permission to say, well, I can't go because of all other things that are, happening. So I was cool with that. I didn't even feel bothered. My phone is working. I saw some things and I would, So now, having had that burden off my back and having achieved it successfully, right, I intend to use the time that I have judiciously, really purposefully, to really, by God's grace, I don't leave him out of the equation at all. I'm one of those, right? To really choose how I do things. I like plants. I like rosemary. I'm always buying rosemary. They don't last too long, but I like the smell and and I like orchids. I'm trying with them. They're going in all kind of how, but permission. So I really don't allow too many people to confuse me. Yeah, it's simple. It's simple. I care about people. Really, really care. Can't stop it now. But at the same time, I could stay in my bed comfortably, read a book, let it fall down, pick it back up, read it again when I wake up, and I'm good. I'm good. Right? Because let's face it, I've been teaching for 50 years. For 50 years. I have taught from primary to tertiary.
Yeah.
And I am still teaching in ways. Do it online and different things. So when am I going to see about me? I know that I need to see more about me. I know that. You understand? So I have to sit down and reflect and say, hey, well, it's a long time. Whatever. Look, let's go. Was it last week? A friend of mine invited me to a prayer group. They were going down to Clifton Hill. I had a whale of a time. I gave myself permission. A whale of a listen, you talk about rain in Clifton Hill? Listen, we didn't get wet. It didn't bother us. We had everything that we needed and good company, including Pan, the other Pan side. Huh? You understand? I gave myself that permission. And the thing about it is, the permission I would give myself might not be yours or Terri Jenn's. And that is something we have to understand and accept.
Yeah.
Because let's say you give yourself permission to go to every concert, every gospel concert they have. Let's just suppose. That might not be Terri Jenn's, that might not be mine. But you have to understand and accept that Terri Jenn is giving herself permission, we are giving ourselves permission based on our disposition, based on our likes and dislikes, and so on. So I hope I tied it in quite nicely there with permission at this stage, because it is different. It is different, you know. But we have to really see that permission is also subjective. It is personal. It is personal, right? And it is represented in different ways. And we must not decry someone who gives himself or herself permission to do. If at this time they find, well, I didn't play the lotto too much before. You see now, the children see, yes, yeah, man, I could take a little change, and every week I might win a little something. If they want to give this up, now, is a moralist, is a socialist, is a whatever, that's their permission. Okay? When the money done, they know they can't do it again. You know, but I'm just saying that, maybe giving an extreme example, but it is about permission. And you know, you see some people who would sit by the savannah. They give themselves permission in the evening just to relax, to get some fresh air. You understand? To see the cars pass and they feel, and somehow there's a nice kind of feeling about it, because you've given yourself. So you're free, permission. Of course, you know, there's a responsibility, because if you're going to sit down there all night
and they get robbed,
all right, you understand?
you have to be accountable and responsible in your decisions.
Right. So I believe that the discourse that we've been having really encompasses emancipation, permission, responsibility, and accountability. And with those four, I think if we operate with those four in mind, certainly we could be on the way to be building better citizens, improving our communities, and really, certainly Trinidad and Tobago. It makes no sense. I'm complaining and really talking about the evils that exist in Trinidad and Tobago without saying, well, okay, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. I am at fault too. However, I added to that. I had children that I didn't bring up well. When they should have been going to school, what did I do? I kept them home to see about something. When they brought somebody's books home, and I didn't ask them anything about it, and I just allowed them to keep it, didn't I contribute to what is happening now? Is this theft? It is theft. And we're talking about all of these evils that are existing here. So we, as the tribe, I'm saying, we need to reflect on how we have been doing things.
And I think, you know, I so love that view, and Jennifer, your point is right. And I think it highlights that even as we talk about the 5.8G tribe, it is 5.8G 50 to 80. But the position of the three groups, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, their responsibilities and accountabilities for what they decide to give themselves permission to do still remains. And even as the 80 plus make decisions to give themselves permission to do this, permission never, as you say, Dr. Tyson-Noel, comes in a vacuum. There are consequences because once
Yes.
you make a decision and you change, your whole environment changes.
Yes.
And you still will be responsible for those changes. And it's fine to say, I don't care what the consequences. That's fine. And if I am 85 or 72 or whatever it is, I say, I train all year already, devil take the hindmost, my time now. That's cool because most likely in the back of my mind, I know there will not be chaos because of the foundation I lay. You know?
Foundation is important. Foundation is important. And if we don't lay a proper foundation for our children, the grandchildren coming up,
in trouble.
and would have some issues. And we see it happening in some aspects of our society. All right. Money is not making it any better. It's not because we have money that those who have money are really operating at a better level, not necessarily.
Money is
So,
not the problem.
you know, you see, the thing about it, I would just want to say, it's a heart thing. A heart, not a head thing. It's a heart thing. How we feel. What are the values that we have inculcated that we can pass on?
Yeah. But we have been having a grand time. So Jennifer, in our last 2 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I'm looking at the clock. So Jennifer can probably just wind up this part of our program.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Really, you know, thank you again for us on the right track. Because it is a question we ask ourselves a lot, especially when emancipation comes along. You hear the question, are you ready emancipated? And the buzzword is always freedom. You know, we have freedom. But what are we doing on this stage, and we to that stage with the freedom that we say that we have? How are, you know, teaching others, sharing our stories to help them learn? And you have given us, right, step by step what we should do. And clearly, when we talk freedom, you talk about freedom. If you have freedom, you're giving yourself permission, and you have to check the person who given permission, check yourself and say, they have the power. You know, you're really giving them the to do. So, you know, I hear all the different, you know, the steps that we have to take. I appreciate it. I know definitely our audience would have appreciated what you shared with us. And yeah, we're going forward. And Terri and tying it in with we are at different stages. And not just I give myself permission to do something, you give yourself permission to do, and we have to respect each other.
Definitely,
you know?
Definitely. So thank you, Dr. Lynette Tyson-Noel. And we look forward to seeing your model for intervention for the achievement of male adolescents in secondary schools roll out and have real impact with our cohort playing a critical part in the home and the community. Definitely. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for having me. Thanks a lot.
Okay, well, Terri, I don't have much to add to this. I mean, we got our steps in terms of what we have to do as a tribe on the to that stage. And I would say Dr. Tyson-Noel, I mean, covered all aspects.
Definitely.
Take action.
Yeah, there are no excuses, tribe. We are emancipated and the shackles gone. And now we have permission. And permission comes with responsibility and accountability to have fun and to continue enjoy. So next week, we are going to have another power pack discussion about this continuing trend of responsibility and accountability for our emancipation permission. We will see you then. Take care.
Bye.
Nice.
50 Plus Tribe and follow us from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.